G'day everyone, Buck up in far north Queensland. Welcome to part 2 of my shed off-grid build, if you want to call it that. Some good stuff arrived this morning and that's why I'm doing this, this film clip here. For those who have only just tuned in, my idea is trying to power my house at night after a cyclone when we haven't got power for weeks on end, being able to run the fridges and the fans and the lights in the house. The item behind me here, the Jackery power station, can power the house, but it cannot power it all night. So what I've done is, rather than get the extended Jackery batteries, which are very, very, very expensive and I couldn't afford that, you can provide power into the Jackery using normal lithium batteries. And if you watch the first part 1 of this shed build, you'll know that behind this gear here is a couple of 280 amp hour LifePo4 lithium batteries. I'm going to hook them up in parallel. It's going to give me 560 amps of power, okay? I forget what that is in watt, about 7,000 watt hours or whatever. Take in 2,042 watt hours, I'm going to have about 9,210 watt hours of power, okay? Run a 15 amp lead into my generator switch in the house and I can power the house. People out there have said, Buck, why don't you've already got a generator, why don't you get a soundproof box and just use that at night, running in the shed, a soundproof box over the top? One, where do you find that? I don't know, I haven't researched that. Run the exhaust out the window, and that way you can run your generator at night and just power your house at night off the generator so you don't annoy the neighbours after a cyclone. That's an option. That is an option. However, say it's got a 4.5, 5 hour fuel tank capacity, you've got to get up during the night, don't you, to refuel your generator. When it runs out of fuel, you do lose power, you've got to start it up again. I want to get through the whole night using silent power, guys. That's the solar generator, using silent power, and then when I get up the next morning and the sun comes up, then I can use the generator to power everything back up. That's my idea. Is it going to work? I hope so. I know the Jackery powers the house. This is all about providing the Jackery with extra power so I can run my house at night when I lose power. Because up here in summertime, you can't sleep at night without ceiling fans. Want to keep a couple of fridges going, all that type of stuff, okay? That's the idea. Will it work? I don't know. I certainly hope so. I think it will. As you know, I've got the lithium batteries. I've got the bench from Bunnings. I've set the bench up. I've got a backboard up here. It's all starting to rock and roll. I'll give you a closer look at the moment. As you know, lead time come on board with a battery for me, guys, and I bought another one. That was on my previous clip. Well, I told you another company had come on board with me, and here they are here, my old mates from West Aussie, Itechworld. Now, you know I'm fully transparent, everyone. I wanted all the stuff to be able to mount up on the backboard here to do the job, and I'll take you through exactly what it was getting to the stage where I was going to have that brand of this and that brand of that. It was going to be a licorice all sorts up on that backboard, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have just one company's of stuff up there, just to, I don't know, I'm a bit OCD or something, you know, I just like to have all the same brand up there if I can. I did a lot of research. There are a lot of companies out there that couldn't do it. I got onto Itechworld's website, guys, itechworld.com.au over there in Western Australia. And if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know I've worked with Itechworld before. Fantastic company. I got on there and something that sparked me was they had off-grid systems. And I thought, oh wow, I hadn't been on the website for a while. Go on there. Well, Itechworld has got everything you need to run an off-grid system. I'm not doing this for camping, everyone. I'm running an off-grid system for my house out of the shed here. So I got on there, I rang Itechworld up and I wanted to ask them a few questions about the inverter and the solar controller and all that. How many solar panels can I put into it and all that? Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, my old mate Jordan over there at Itechworld, guys, I told them what I needed. I asked for him to email through a quote. The quote came back at a bit over $2,000 and it had a $2,000 discount. Can you believe that? I didn't ask for this stuff for free. Itechworld said, Buck, we're happy to give it to you. We know that you do a good job on YouTube promoting our company and all that. I've done it before with Itechworld guys. Absolutely fantastic. And you know, Itechworld, everyone, has donated some things like the JS80 jump starter and all that type of stuff to some of my charity giveaways and my Christmas giveaways. So a company here that helps me out with my charity work as well. And the least I can do is work in with them and give them a plug, which is absolutely fantastic. They've got good gear, we all know that. Before I forget, you're probably thinking, Buck, is there a discount code? Yes, there is, guys. Mr. Buck 5 for a 5% discount. G'day, Rafa. So that code was always going. It's been reactivated. So anything on the Itechworld website, and let me tell you, they've got some good stuff on there now, guys, from lithium batteries through to everything you need to go in conjunction with it, power stations, jump starters for your four-wheel drive. They got a lot of gear on there. They are really, really going places. They're in a brand new building over there in Western Australia now, and it's a Aussie company that's going ahead in leaps and bounds. So 5%, Mr. Buck 5. Anything on that website, guys, put in my discount code, Mr. Buck 5, and you got yourself a 5% discount. I don't get anything out of it. You guys do. So 5% discount there for you. So get in and use it. Make use of it, eh? 5%'s better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, as they say. Righto, this one here, I'm just going to go through and show you what Itechworld has given me, and now the dogs are going to bark. I'll keep pushing on. They've given me some really good stuff. Future clips will show me mounting it up on the board here and all that type of stuff. I do not have the knowledge to get this up and running by myself. I'm going to need an auto elec or something here, guys. I'm going to be asking for your input as well. I'm going to be asking for advice from you people so I can read the comments and what else. So as I go, I will be asking questions of you guys. So I don't know a lot about this. I'm very, very basic when it comes to this. I wish I knew more about 12 volt. I really do. I wish I was an auto elec. If I had my time over again, I probably would be. As a young bloke, I'd love to be an auto elec. I just find it fascinating. And all this 12 volt stuff, so many really good things coming on the market now. It's just unbelievable. So what do I need, firstly, in conjunction with my 560 amps of lithium battery there, which will provide power, flies are friendly, provide power to the Jackery. Too many letters and words going around, I'm getting confused. The first thing here was a 3000 watt Pro pure sine wave inverter, everyone. So there's the Itechworld. In future clips, you'll see me do an actual review on this item when it's mounted up on the board and all that, and testing it out, make sure it works properly. I'm just, in this one, part 2, showing you what I've been given. 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter. Pure sine wave meaning you can run sensitive electronic equipment off there, your laptops and all that type of stuff. It's not going to blow your laptops and everything up. So if you want, there's modified sine wave or something, and then you got pure sine wave. Pure is what you want if you run an electronic equipment, okay? And I am in this case, where I'm running a bloody solar power station there. So 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter with basically what that does, everyone, is it converts 12 volts to 240 volts, okay? It came with some really heavy duty 000 American wire gauge, AWG, triple aught, or the Americans. Mike Blakely, if you're watching, triple aught. They don't say 000, triple aught buck or triple aught AWG, triple O gauge, which is thick. Okay, so 2 really thick cables there, a positive and a negative, with a, how big's the fuse? 450 amp fuse. So that's what you need, okay, to safely hook your 3000 watt inverter up to the lithium batteries. So there's the cables for that. What else did I get? Well, this is the inverter remote here. So this will be mounted up on the backboard, everyone, and it's basically an on and off switch for the inverter, and it's got a heap of buttons and lights and everything on there, and I can tell what my inverter is doing. if it's on and if it's providing power and all that. So it's an Itech RC3 Pro inverter remote. So it's basically a remote control. I can just mount that and turn it on via that switch there that you can see in the photo. This is a remote, guys. There'll be a little wire that plugs into there, just a little wire, and that remote will be mounted up on the backboard, and I can turn the inverter on via that. So 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter, big heavy duty cables to hook it up, and the remote there. Now, I also needed a way, everyone, when you've got a lot of lithium, you want to be able to get a lot of power into it the next day. How do I do that? Solar, if the sun's out. I live in the wettest part of Australia. After a cyclone, we can not see the sun for 2 weeks. Okay, so solar's pretty well useless to me. But when the sun is out and shining, it is brilliant. Solar power is brilliant when the sun is out. Okay, so what I've got here is a 40 amp 1224 volt MPP maximum power point tracking Itechworld solar controller. So I've got a lot of solar panels here, and you'll see this in upcoming clips as well, guys, doing experiments with it. I can put up to 800 watts of solar. This thing can take up to almost 100 volts of solar panels going into it. So I'll have the capacity to charge the batteries up the next day if the sun's out, 40 amps an hour, through an MPPT solar regulator there, and I can get up to a maximum of 40. So I'll have to crank up all my solar panels that I've got available to me, get them running through this, and the more I can get in there, if I get over 40 amps, that's fine. It'll power it down to 40 amps maximum, okay? But at the same time, solar by itself will not be enough to power those batteries up the next day. If you've got a big lithium solar bank, 560 amps, guys, and you've got a little 20 amp charger or something, you think you're going to charge them up by solar panels, think again. It takes longer than all day to charge those batteries up. So the other way is here is with an AC charger. Okay, AC/DC, good band that one. So there's a 40 amp AC charger. That'll be mounted up on the backboard. So I'm hoping that at the same time I can be running solar into the batteries via DC, and I can have up to 40 amps running into the batteries via AC. So let me know in the comments. I'm hoping I can run solar and my generator into the batteries at the same time. Get that power into those lithium. Lithium will accept a lot of power, as we know. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do solar and AC. How do I do that? If the power's out, via my Engel generator there, everyone. Okay, I've got an Engel Jenny, so I'll plug it in. I plug the 240 volt power cable into the AC charger, and I charge the batteries up at 40 amps an hour, and it will do 40 amps an hour through the generator and get the power in that way. I'm hoping that if I can get 40 amps via AC and 40 amps via solar, or close to 40 amps, that's 80 amps an hour I can get into those batteries and charge them up during the day, okay? That's what I'm hoping to do. So there is an AC charger, and I run the generator into that. The other thing I've got here is a display panel, which I think must be in here. This is a 500 amp shunt, everyone. So this will be hooked up to the batteries, Itechworld 500 amp shunt, and it should have, yeah, it does, you beauty. So there we go there. There's a shunt that hooks up to the batteries, and then there's a little display there at the top. With that display will be up on the backboard as well. Comes with a cable and all that type of stuff. What the shunt does is it tells me the state of the batteries, basically. So via that little control panel there, it can tell me how much power is in the batteries, how much power is coming out of the batteries, how much power is going into the batteries. It tells me what those batteries are doing. Very important that you know what your lithium batteries are doing, guys. And that little 500 amp shunt and the display panel will do exactly that. So that gets hooked up to the batteries, so I can see what my my two 280 amp batteries are doing okay, so I won't be able to get that back in the box now. So that's the Itechworld 500 amp shunt and display panel. Very important. You need that. You need to know what your batteries are doing, everyone. And by a push of the button, I've got a nice, I'll have a display up on the backboard there, and it'll tell me exactly what my batteries are doing. So that there is what I got from Itechworld. It was all given to me. I'll show you the other thing that I did buy with my own money, and it's another groovy little bit of kit from Itechworld. It's a little power box. I'll show you that in a minute, little 12 volt power box. So the thing is now I've got all the gear to do it. I just need to get it hooked up. I can probably mount that myself up on the backboards and all that. I think I'm gonna need a hand from an auto elec to get that hooked up, guys. I just don't have the knowledge to do it by myself. I don't want to go and damage anything. I don't want to damage the batteries or hook anything up wrong. I want to get it done properly. But as I'm getting it done properly, I'll be showing you how to do it, why we're doing it that way, and get the auto elec to explain to you why we're hooking it up that way. Hopefully you can learn something as well. If you've got any good ideas, let me know. I will look into that soundproof cover for the generator, everyone. That is not, I forget who told me about that. It's not a bad idea, is it? If I do need to run my generator at night, if I've got a soundproof cover, I might be able to do that. If I run it in the shed, I'm definitely going to have to vent the exhaust out the window. That is a must. Don't ever run a generator inside an enclosed area, everyone. That is a must. Every time we get a cyclone in far north Queensland, you'll always hear about somebody killing themselves from carbon monoxide poisoning from a generator. It's happened a few times up here. We take it for granted that everyone knows that. Well, they don't. Right, I'm going to stop jibber jabbering and just give you a little look at the backboard so you'll get a bit of an idea of what I'm trying to do. And next time you see this gear, it'll be getting pulled out of the box, mounted on the backboard there, and I'll probably do some clips and run you through each individual item individually on a separate clip, just so if you want to know a little bit more about the actual item, there'll be a separate clip on that. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you want to know more about that. But the important thing is, you guys get a 5% discount from Itechworld. Itechworld.com.au. They're a good company. Jordan over there, mate, if you see this, thank you so much. You were the one who was the one who said to Itechworld, send it over to Buck for nothing. I really appreciate that. I certainly wasn't expecting it for nothing, guys. It was just a big bonus. I was going to be up for a couple of $1,000s. I was prepared to pay that. I rang them up to try and ask some questions, and then I said, send me a quote, and they said, you can have it for nothing, mate. We know you do good YouTube clips and that for us, so really appreciate it. There's another guy over at Itechworld. I won't mention his name, everyone. I rang him up, didn't realise for the last 12 months he's been battling cancer. I won't mention his name. And I rang up and he said, mate, I'm not at work. I've been off work for 12 months battling cancer. He said, but I've beaten it. I'm in remission. So if you see this, Jordan, pass it on, please. You know who it is. Pass it on. We're so glad. We've had a couple of community members battle cancer and they've both beaten it, everyone. So just so good to, when he said I'm in remission and I'll be back at work soon. That was absolutely fantastic news. So yeah, bloody cancer, eh? We all know someone who's been struck down with it, don't we? Righto, I'm going to grab the camera and give you a bit of a look at the backboard and show you what I'm up to. Righto, so if you haven't been watching, I got a nice heavy duty bench there from Bunnings the other day, can take 100 kilos per shelf. And then I've put a backboard up there and painted it, cut a hole out so I can access the 240 volt plugs there. So my idea, everyone, is to basically, behind here is my lead time lithium batteries, okay? 500, they're going to be hooked up in parallel. I've got to get those damn cables made up. They'll probably be big 000 cables like that to hook them up in parallel. I've brought them to the charge. They'll be hooked in parallel. And then the inverter will be mounted probably up here somewhere. The inverter will be mounted. The inverter will be connected to the batteries via these big heavy duty 000 gauge wires, big thick ones, because they're carrying a lot of current, and 450 amp, all fused and everything from Itechworld, all ready to go, everyone. I'll have a nice little monitor sitting up here so I can see the what the inverter's doing. The monitor will be mounted up on the backboard there. I'll have a solar controller mounted up here so I can run my solar panels into there. The solar controller will be hooked into the batteries. And then the other thing is the 40 amp charger will be mounted. You can mount them using screws, so the 40 amp charger will be up here so I can run the generator lead in and charge everything up via 240 and also via solar panels. There's the other little Itechworld. I'll do a separate clip on that. I bought that with my own money, guys. It's just a little extended 12 volt control box, and I'll do a separate clip on this. But basically you've got cigarette connectors there. Under here we've got all your USBs, USB-Cs, quick chargers, and then under here you've got a couple of Anderson connectors there, so you can plug extra Anderson plugs and that in. Okay, it's got a little thing there, and that's hooked up to my Itechworld battery box here at the moment. She's sitting on 13.5, so she's fully charged. That's what we want. But my next thing now is to get these hooked up in parallel. I've charged them up, and then get all this stuff mounted up on the backboard. Now, does anyone know anything about buzz bars? Will I need a buzz bar? I've got a fair bit of stuff that's going to have to connect up to the batteries. Should I run a buzz bar? I don't know much about them, but basically the buzz bar connects to the batteries, and then I hook all this ancillary stuff into a buzz bar. Can anyone give me some advice on a buzz bar? And the other thing I think I'm going to need is an isolation switch. Will I need to run an isolation switch, everyone? So just like in your boat, red button, turn it, isolate it off, and if I want to use it, I turn it on. Isolate it when it's not in use. Do I need an isolator switch? I'm tipping yes. And do I need to run a buzz bar? Is that an option there? Another groovy bit of gear I got the other day, everyone, is a Blue Eddy Charger 1. And what I can do there is I can trickle charge out of a lithium battery. Lithium batteries come in there. As you know, if I charge with 12 volts into the jackery, I can only get 100 watts. That's useless. This thing here will amplify up to 570 watts. So I can run an Anderson plug from the batteries into here, then an Anderson plug from the other side into the jackery, and that amplifies up to 570 watts of power. Okay, so I can trickle charge into the jackery using that. There's a separate clip coming on that, and it works a treat, everyone. I've tested it out. It works unbelievable. It boosts it from 100 watts to 570. Almost 6 times the power I can get out of a lithium battery. Any lithium battery, this thing here will amplify it almost 6 times to charge up your power stations. The other thing I did the other day, my Ryobi battery charger. Okay, I've mounted that on the backboard as well. I just throw my Ryobi batteries up there, turn it on and charge all my Ryobi batteries up, which I use for fans, my Ryobi fans, the whippersnipper, the blower, all your Ryobi tools, okay, that run off the 18 volt batteries. So I've put my Ryobi thing up there. It's mounted nice and tight, just using a couple of screws. Everything's going to get mounted like that Blue Eddy there, everyone. Okay, it's been mounted up there with some self-tapping screws into the backboard. I can take it down if I want, and that's what I'm going to do with all this stuff. The AC charger, the pure sine wave inverter there, the solar controller, the inverter panel, and also the shunt, not so much the shunt, but the shunt display. So this will be the display that tells me what the batteries are doing. It'll be mounted up there like that, and it'll have a digital display there so I can see exactly what my lithium batteries are doing. So there you go, everyone. That's my plan. Give me some advice down there. Buzz bars, isolation switches, all that type of stuff. I've got to go and get I can't find them anyway. I'm going to have to get them made up by the Auto Elect. A couple of 000 bloody gauge cables so I can hook these damn batteries up in parallel, and then I'm going to start mounting all this stuff up. But I'm going to need, hopefully, young Josh from Advanced Auto Elects. Hopefully Josh can come around one Saturday morning and show me how to hook all this stuff up and do it properly. So there you go, everyone. That is my idea, and all part 2 is just to show you what came from Itechworld and what my intentions are, is to basically mount this stuff up on that backboard there, get it all hooked up properly so I can run that Jackery and power my house after a cyclone, using the 2 big lithium batteries in parallel to power the Jackery, which will power the house. The Jackery powers the house. I've already tested it out. It just won't power it all night. I'm hoping now with that 560 amps of power going into the Jackery, feeding into the Jackery either via 240 volts through the inverter, or I don't think it'll provide enough power. I can trickle charge via that Blue Eddy up there, up to 570 watts going in there. 570 watts won't cut the mustard, keeping that Jackery up for the house all night. I think I'm going to have to use the inverter, 240, and then keep the Jackery charged up via 240, which would be the most efficient. Get up the next morning, batteries are low. I look at my panel there, my control panel. Yep, your batteries are down to 30% or something. Start the generator up, go in through the AC charger. If it's sunny, get my solar panels out, pump as much solar as I can in through the Itechworld solar charge controller here, and hopefully by nightfall the next night, if we still haven't got power, those batteries and the Jackery are up to 100% and they're ready to get me through another night without power. Keep the fans running, keep the fridges running in there, get a light on when we need to go to the toilet. We're not bouncing off walls and all that type of stuff. The main thing is keeping the fridges in there running and the ceiling fans. We don't intend running air conditioners and that, everyone. I'm well aware we won't run the air cons, but we do definitely need to be able to run the ceiling fans, otherwise you can't sleep. Put a comment down. Cruz here, she said, "G'day everyone." Put a comment down, let me know what you reckon. Am I on the right track? Am I on the right track? I will look into a soundproof cover for the generator, everyone. But that generator won't get me through the night either. I'm going to have to get up to 2 or 3 times throughout the night maybe and refuel the damn thing. When you're refueling, you've got to turn it off and then you lose power. With the Jackery, she just keeps going all night. If I've got enough power, that Jackery will get me through the whole night, and then I charge up the next day using solar and 240. That's my intention. Yeah, there's probably better systems out there that'll do it, but they're a lot dearer as well. Crew, stop hitting the camera thing. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this. I'm really excited about it. I feel really chuffed that both Lead Time has given me one of those lithium batteries. I bought the other one myself, guys, and Itechworld came on and provided all this over $2,000 worth of gear, have given it to me for nothing. Really appreciate it. And don't forget, I always try and get something for you guys out of them too. 5% discount. Mr. Buck 5 and Lead Time, Mr. Buck 8 on those for lithium batteries. Just remember, Itechworld has got lithium batteries, solar power station. They've got a lot of stuff now, guys. They really do. And as I said, to any company who's helped me out to get this project up and running, I really appreciate it. Catch you later. See you in part 3 when we pull all this stuff up and we start mounting it on the backboard, eh? But there's experiments coming up with the Jackery, solar experiments and all that type of stuff. Really, if you're into this stuff, stay tuned because I've got some interesting stuff coming up. I think you'll find it really good. Catch you later. Be good to each other. We'll catch you in part 3, eh? You beauty. We're underway.